okay, if you guys ever need to see it, okay? And I could make a copy as well. So, the first thing it says to do is get a tile, okay? So this is when it's important. We have tiles laying all over back here, okay? You cannot get your patient or students confused. So on the tiles, because we have an upper and lower, okay, I am going to put the patient's name, which you guys will put your own for now until you work on someone, okay? All right. So the next thing you're going to do is you need to fill up 2 bowls, okay? Now the book does have a measurement. I don't do measurement, okay? So for a lower, you only need 1/3, okay? For an upper, little less than half, okay? In here is the dental vibrator. Oops, sorry. We have plenty of them. So you're gonna grab one of these, okay? Plug it in. Okay, now they are not going to look like this. Okay, even in a practice, you still need to cover it. Never let your equipment look like that. Hence why I have the tray liners here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to cover it in a tray liner. Okay, then paper towel because it is going to flow. And hopefully a rubber band that's not too old and won't snap you. Some of them are old. Okay. Now, if you look at this sheet, all right, so if you guys were pouring up today, you're going to put today's date and you would put your name. Okay, so today's the 2nd, right? And then my patient name, and then Jackson's the one that did it, and it's going to go like this. So if you guys are doing alginates and you come back here and you see this in a real office, you can pour it up. Just because it wasn't your patient doesn't mean you can't pour that up. You have the patient's name. There's no prescription with it saying it's going to the lab. So go ahead and pour it up, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, like this says when you mix, it has to be like peanut butter, okay? So I'm going to run it through with you guys just a little bit first, all right? So we have our impressions that you guys took for me. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to open those up. Keep the wet towels. I'll show you why here in a minute. Okay, all right. So the first thing I need is a buffalo knife. Can you grab one for me, Jalacia? It's in that last drawer. Hayden, let her in, please, honey. Okay, thank you. So what I want you guys to do on the lower, there is no tongue, okay? So we're going to cut the tongue out. I know it sounds weird, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you have anything, which you don't, your impressions are really good. But if you did have drips, okay, you would cut them off, okay? But these look really good. You guys did a good job. So the way this works is you just put this on and turn it up all the way, okay?
It moves around.
It does move around. Okay, so what I want to show you guys real quick before I mix is the process, okay? So once I get my mix done, now remember this isn't in the book, okay? A lab tech taught me this in New Hampshire and it works. When I go into a practice, I keep rubber models because I don't get bubbles. Every year I teach this and I walk up behind someone and they're putting gobs in, they end up with bubbles, okay? So what you're going to do when you start, remember I said you always start on the right side, number 1, forever and ever, right? So that's where you're going to start, okay? So you would turn this on, have this in place, take just a little bit. This is when you have to be patient.
Okay.
Okay? Put it, tooth number 1 or 2, whichever's there, and you're going to let it go, okay? You're going to turn it to the side. You're going to turn it to the back. You're going to get the whole occlusal very thinly done, okay? Now the upper is the most fun because then you grab a whole gob and you just put it on the palate and it flows, okay? Okay, so let's go over to the sink and we'll do the upper first, okay? And when you guys, tomorrow when you pour, I'm going to help you mix. I'm not going to mix for you, but I'm going to help you. Okay, it has to be cold water, okay? And you know only to use these 3 things. What would happen if I use warm water?
It solidifies faster.
It'll set up quicker, okay? So I just want to dribble. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna start mixing it, okay? Once you see the water pull up like that, pull out, because it only takes a second for it to get running. This isn't like Alginate where it sets up real quick, okay? Now, once I'm happy with the mix, okay, which I'm not, I could take this and I could add water that way as well. Okay?
So there's no actual measurements for this?
There is in the book, but I've never done it. I've just always mixed on my own, okay? Because sometimes you don't need that much, right? Sometimes somebody might have a petite upper. So then there's your mix. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So the first thing you're going to do is we have to get the bubbles out of this mix. Okay? So what I'm going to do is turn this on. And again, they're squeezy for a reason, right? Put it on. Come over, Jalaisha. I want you to see the bubbles coming to the top. That's a good mix. See how there's some bubbles coming up?
Yeah.
Okay. So it only takes a couple seconds to do that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit from the area where there's no bubbles, okay? Just a little. You got to be patient. Put this on the vibrator and then put it on and let it run. Jalaisha, can you stand behind me, baby? However, you have to turn this so that it will start flowing through. Just a very thin. It really does work. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it all these years. I think I learned that in like year 6. A little more. And did you see I kept adding to the right side, okay? I didn't add over here. Okay. Lift it up. Get that to flow to the other side maybe. Nice. I love it. Okay. If you're not sure about the bubbles, lay it flat. They'll come to the surface, okay? Add a little more. You've got to be patient.
It looks like cornbread mix.
Oh, does it? I guess so, huh? Just want to make sure all the occlusal's done. Messing with me a little bit. I'm going to add some just here, kind of on the front a little bit, because I need it to flow just right there. Nice. Okay, so see how all the occlusal's done? Very thin, right? Okay, now you can grab a big gob of it and just put it on the palette and let it flow. Grab a big gob of it, palette, let it flow. Okay, once it's about this full, okay, you can't take this apart like this, it'll break. So what you're going to put is what we call a base. So the rest of the material we're going to add. But you don't want a big base because, you don't want a big base because once you learn the grinder, you're going to see you would have to grind most of it away, okay? Again, not in the book, something I learned. Usually we use a pen and just put it here like this. Okay, all right, so now let's do the lower one. Okay, the lower one's just a little different, so let's go over and mix again. I know it's gonna be a long video.
Yeah, we're at like 9 minutes right
I
now.
know. Okay, same thing, a trickle, come down, mix until it pools up. And just a little more. Okay, perfect. Okay, come back. Let's get the bubbles out. We're going to put it on. The bubbles out. Is it turning on? Oh. Okay. Get the bubbles out. Or let them rise to the surface, I guess. Okay. All right, so same thing. We're going to take our lower a little bit. Now with the lower, the tricky part is the anterior teeth. You see how small those are?
Yeah.
So you really have to let that flow very slow, okay? So I'm going to drop it in like we did before and let it go. If you rush it, you'll end up with bubbles. It never fails. Okay. See how it's starting to fill the anterior? That's what I want. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay, and then once it stops moving, same spot, add it to the back. I want it to feel slow, 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 slow. And again, if you're not sure if you have bubbles or not, lay it flat, and that'll take care of a lot of the bubbles that come to the top. Can you believe now with scanners you don't have to do any of this?
Yeah.
You just scan it and upload it and off it goes. But they said no, they still use these for presentation, and if the scanner's down or the scanner's not always right, and I'm like, okay. I know. I'm getting there. Gotta be patient.
Not just the holding the camera.
Oh. Okay, so this one's different because we don't have a palette, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so get that back too. Try and get that back too. Okay, the whole occlusal's done, right?
Yeah.
So just grab a little bit more and add it. Grab a little bit more, add it, same spot. The idea is to keep it in the tray, not on the paper, but sometimes it goes on the paper. That's why we cover it, and that's okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get out of the way of the camera. And you see, I keep laying it flat so the bubbles will come to the surface.
Yeah.
Okay, the trick is knowing how full to fill it before you add your base. And that's good enough. Not off. Okay, when you add your base, okay. So the idea is not to cover the tray. If you get it like on the tray, it's gonna lock in and you're never gonna get it out, okay? So that's why I just do like swipe, swipe, like that, okay?
Like spreading a bagel.
Yeah, right? All right, and then just take a pen and do this
Sorry.
again, okay? Now I'm not sure this year what I'm gonna do because of the glass holder, but usually they go over there, okay? So that's it. Thank you for recording.